What up? What up? What up? What up? My fellow entrepreneurs, how y'all doing? I actually just wanted to come on real quick and share just something that really came on my heart about something we really all deal with, and that's feeling like we're not good enough, right? That's something that a lot of entrepreneurs, salespeople, or hell, anybody in general struggles with. Is just not feeling good enough and not feeling like they can accomplish the things that they want to accomplish. And a lot of it happens at a deep-seated, rooted level. And so I just wanted to share a quick story, and then I want to ask a question. And so this is going to be really quick. But I was sitting with a client not too long ago, and my client was telling me that how much pressure they put on themselves, or so here's what happened. They did the work that they needed to do and to get an award, right? So they did all the work to get the reward. But the certificate that they were supposed to get in exchange for doing the work, they never received. Or they didn't get the recognition that they thought they were supposed to get. So I asked my client, I said, well, how did that make you feel? And she said, well, it made me feel like shit. And I said, okay, what about that made you feel like shit? And she says, well, because I didn't get recognized for the work that I did. And I asked her, I said, why was it so important for you to get recognized for the work that you did? Why was this piece of paper so much to you that you needed? Why was this piece of paper so important to you? Sorry, this is coming off the top of my head, but why was this piece of paper so important to you that it makes you feel like shit? It makes you cringe that the fact that you don't get it. And after doing some thinking and doing some digging, right, and asking a few more questions, she finally came to the conclusion that, I need the validation. So she did the work, but then here's the certificate. The certificate didn't come. She feels like shit. And she feels like shit because the validation, she didn't get the validation she felt she needed, right? And I said, okay, now ask yourself this question, right? What is it that you need to believe about yourself in order to feel like you need validation? And she thought about it. And I said, what is it that you would have to believe? If you need outside validation to prove your worth, what is it that you need to believe about yourself? And she said that I'm not good enough. And she's kind of just broke. And I said I could relate. And I'm sure a lot of you watching right now can relate too. That the outside validation, all the stuff that comes with the work that we do, the work, just doing the work is not good enough, right? We need the stuff to come with it, right? We need the outside validation. We need the car. We need the clothes. We need other people to recognize us. We need to be on stage. We need our name read from a list of look who did this. We need that outside validation in order to feel like we are good enough, in order to feel like we are worth something, because the deep-seated belief is that we are not good enough. So we tend to over promote ourselves, right? We tend to walk around telling people, hey, look at me, I'm smart. Look at me, I'm successful. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Look how many sales I made. Look at what I created. Look at what my business did. Look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Because we need the outside validation to prove to ourselves that we are good enough. And so my next question to her was, when did you decide that you weren't good enough? Like, when did you make the decision? Because to a belief, in order to believe something, the belief is preceded by a decision. So at some point, you had to make the decision to believe that you weren't good enough in order to believe it. So the belief that I'm not good enough just doesn't come from anywhere. Something happened, and at that moment, you made the decision that I'm not good enough, and that became your belief. So when did you decide that you weren't good enough? And so she closed her eyes. And I said, ask your unconscious mind, when did you decide that you weren't good enough? And she went back to when she was a child. And she remembers being compared to other people that she felt like she wanted to be like, or she was being compared by loved ones that she really secretly craved their love. And so she felt like because she didn't feel loved the way they got loved, that she wasn't good enough. So as a child, she made the determination that she wasn't good enough to be loved. And as a child, because here's what we do with beliefs. Here's what happens. Because when a situation happens, especially when we're a child, and we don't really know what the situation means and we feel uncertain, a lot of times we will make a decision to believe something in order to feel something. But remember that a belief is a feeling of absolute certainty. It is not certainty. It is a feeling of absolute certainty. And so as a child in that situation, she created a belief just to feel certain because she didn't understand what was going on. She didn't know what was happening. So she needed to create a belief to create certainty, right? So that she can then move on. And so that was the belief that she created. She created the belief that I'm not good enough in that situation. This is why I'm being treated like this. And that served her at the moment, but not in her adult years. And so if you are struggling with the belief that I'm not good enough, if you struggle with that because you find yourself trying to overachieve and trying to overexert yourself and trying to prove to other people your worth, if you struggle with that, I want you to ask yourself this question. When did you decide that you weren't good enough? Take care.